Here's a bit of a weird one for you. A lot of people have done this challenge where you draw a new Pokemon based on a Pokemon's name, as if you didn't know the Pokemon already. Let's be honest, we all have Pokemon brain rot here, so we know every Pokemon's name. However, I wanted to take it a step further. In this video, I randomized a couple Pokemon, and I attempt to make a new Pokemon by combining the two Pokemon's names. I actually kind of cooked here with some of the designs. So I made it where I could sort of combine the name in any combo, so it could have been Golgigas, some kind of large seagull, which would have been fun, but I couldn't get Regipin out of my mind. And while it could have been a fun wrestler Regi form, I thought pin as in straw doll like Nobara from Jujutsu Kaisen's sort of pins. And so a ghost type Regi was born. I went into this with a sort of new Regi design idea in mind. The old Regis are a bit more stout and maybe rectangular in design. Even Registeel has a sort of outward shape of being a bit rectangular. The other two, Regieleki and Regidrago, both are more round boys, so I wanted to make it a round lad made of straw. The top of the head and legs helped to create that sort of straw doll human silhouette. I needed to give it the pin part of Regipin to the design, and instead of having various needles just shoved in every part of it, I decided to make them a sort of stand-in for arms, one sticking out all pointy-like, and the other the head of the nail, and one other point being a bit of a spooky devil horn. This design sort of needed no real changes to it, as the sketch just made me so incredibly happy straight away. Doing this design really makes me want to fill in all the types of Regis with new designs. Maybe I'll make a video for it later down the line. Regipen would be a sort of scary Pokemon to battle with its ability, especially using something like a life orb taking your life instead of its own. But hey, if Regieleki taught us anything, there's always a bigger, more overpowered fish. Regipin, the straw doll Pokemon, a ghost type. It is theorized that Regipin came to be from grudges congregating together and being absorbed by a single straw doll. These vengeful energies coalesced and gave life to Regipin. The center mass of Regipin grows larger and will even begin to leak ghostly energy when it absorbs the hatred of nearby people and Pokemon. This only serves to make the Pokemon more powerful. When it is hit, it barely or doesn't feel the pain at all. It will then use Dark Powers to redirect that hate-filled energy back at the attacker with all the collected grudge energy it had absorbed. Regipin has a new ability called Grudge Pin, where self-damage and negated damage from normal or fighting type attacks get redirected to the foe. The next combo was Solgaleo and Chewtle. Honestly, making them just a fusion would have been quite interesting for the name. However, I chose Chewtle, as we get all the cool aesthetics of the son of a turtle, instead of Chugaleo, the Chugi lion Pokemon. This is another one I had in my head the moment I heard Chewtle, playing off sort of the ideas of things like the world turtle and that sort of Discworld idea. Chewtle is this little spaceship-inspired Pokemon where its shell would be this orangey glowing ball of energy that would, in its animation, spike off, creating these solar flares. As that is sort of the focal point, Chewtle himself is very normal turtle in nature, having a bit of a Turturga look about them. The end of their little fins are able to jet off like rocket thrusters, and honestly I just thought it'd be cool to have a little rocket turtle that could fly around in space, or even the ocean. Fire Psychic type for this lad, I thought it was the most fitting here for a space sun turtle. No steel types here, Mr. Sun Eater Solgaleo. Chewtle, the sun Pokemon, a fire and psychic type. Chewtle is seen spending their days laying out in the sun around beaches. The more energy they absorb from the sun, the brighter and more erratic their shell becomes. Spikes of energy blast out of Chewtle's shell. This energy can cause disruptions to nearby electronics and make a flare-up in heat around the Pokemon. It can swim in the ocean, but if it has been recently powered up by the sun, it can warm the water around it a bit too much, causing distress to the other Pokemon that call the ocean home. During the night, it returns to the deep ocean where it sleeps till the sun rises. Chewtle have the abilities Solar Power and Flame Body. With a bit of a Tinkatink Cetoddle, we have two Paldean babies here, and both lines I love a lot. I chose to fuse them into Tinkatink here, as Cetoddle felt like some kind of medicine for diarrhea. Going into this, I thought it'd be fun to make an almost counterpart to the Tinkaton line, being sort of a male Pokemon that instead of knocking steel types out of the sky like a mad goblin. This little mad lad lives in the junkyard and is a dirty trash goblin instead. I love the Tinkaton line. Seriously, top 10 Pokemon. I guess I just love goblin Pokemon with giant weapons because Ogerpon's up there too. For Tinkatink, it's this small, almost Tinkatink shaped Pokemon. However, instead of a weapon, they've fashioned some junk into clothing. A bit of cracked glass bottle, goggles here, a trash bag cape there, and to round it all out, a little serrated can buckler. I gave it this sort of Maggie from The Simpsons dummy that it would be permanently sucking on. Maybe more of a Pabumon situation than anything, but I felt it gave it the best baby energy possible. I don't know, Tinkatink is a bit of a tetanus hazard, but I'd give it a big hug. Maybe its final Evo could be some kind of junk mech that surrounds the final Evo. That'd be fun. Tinkatink, the Tinker Pokemon, the Steel type. Living almost exclusively in junkyards, Tinkatink spend much of their time looking for junk to create clothing and armor for themselves. Their brain isn't highly developed till they evolve, so they mainly craft simple things such as small clothing items and weapons. It isn't attached to any of these though, and will instantly throw them at any opponent if it gives them a moment to escape. Each Tinkatink is given an item that their parents once held onto to use as a dummy. This becomes something they grow attached to and will be the only thing they never discard. Tinkatink has the ability Technician. This one was fun. I got Munkidori and Popplio, two of the most opposite Pokemon ever. Munkidori was fun, but I settled on Munkilio, as it sounded like a hunky monkey and I got to create a Golden Lion Tamarin Pokemon. This one was going to be in a sort of similar vein as Passimian and Oranguru, except this one is more of a lifting short king. I thought it'd be funny if it had a bit of a mugshot from Sly Cooper energy to it having such massive swole arms and skipping leg day, so this monkey would almost permanently walk around on its giant arms. That's what hunky means, right? So buff you can only walk on your giant arms? I want to make sure this sort of Leo part showed up in the design, so it gave it the large lion-like mane. I really love making more ridiculous designs like this, as I can totally see it in game. Reminds me a lot of Passimian, to be honest, just being this kind of ridiculous football monkey. I love that football monkey though. I wanted to show a bit of that lifter's spirit more. So the end of this buff monkey's tail is now a big old dumbbell shape filled with creatine and hopes and dreams of its legs eventually catching up to the rest of this steroid monkey. Munkilio, the lift Pokemon, a fighting type. Munkilio's body builds muscle exceptionally quickly and easily. This however builds much quicker in their tails and arms, leading them to be unable to use their legs well. Their tail is heavy enough where simply lifting it is a workout for Munkilio. Not only that it can be swung around with great force, Munkilio will leap off high places and swing their tail down for an incredibly potent crushing attack. Munkilio, Passimian and Oranguru all fight each other for territory, and despite their size they will swarm the other two Pokemon with numbers, uprooting home trees and being a general annoyance. Munkilio's abilities are huge power and unaware. Maushold and Huntail are another two that were so out of left field I was honestly shocked. Huntail is a cool name, but the idea of a Pokemon just called Mousetail was too cute. I straight away thought of an early route cute Pokemon that almost combined the aesthetics of a Rattata with the Maushold line. The idea of it being called Mousetail made me think of Fairy Tail, even if it isn't exactly spelt right for that type of tail. But then again, Ninetales does the same thing but the direct opposite, so it don't matter. I wanted Mousetail to be an almost Disney princess design, but I guess pre-magical girl transformation, where they are still a bit in their Cinderella working under her three sisters deal outfit. You can totally imagine that it has an evolution where it becomes a beautifully dressed princess mouse instead. I actually referenced a bit of Cinderella here, I guess a maid outfit, in this one with an apron and that head wrap going around as well. I definitely wanted it to feel a bit like a little working mouse ready to flourish into a true magical princess transformation. Mousetail, the cleanup Pokemon, a fairy and normal type. A small plump Pokemon that calls houses and small tree hollows home. Mousetail love nothing more than keeping their homes clean and tidy, and if living in the same home as you, it will come out at night and clean your home. Each Mousetail has their own specific dance that they use to interact with one another. Scientists are still trying to figure out exactly what these dances communicate compared to their normal cries. Some cases have been found where a Mousetail will be seen taking care of Maushold children when something happens to the parents. It is an exceptional caretaker. Mousetail has the abilities Skill Link and Thick Fat. The generator decided to give me 2 starters this time with Serperior and Swampert. 2 amazing designs. Serpert was not a good name, but Swamperia, oh, Swamperia was so good. I guess it must be my want to get straight jacked and ripped, because Swamperia made me think of this muscle-bound swamp monster sort of thing. If you've seen my Astara series, think of my design Bogyip, but he's out of his depressive slump and decided to become a strongman. That's actually one of the inspos for Swamperia, a mustachioid muscle man that you'd see in maybe the circus or even on the beaches of the 1900s in their striped bathing suits. Except here it's just more of a flat colour that has become his bathing suit to survive the stinky swamp waters that definitely don't take up a good chunk of their body mass anyway. Honestly, this does give me an almost final stage starter vibe. Maybe chuck in an extra colour or 2 and base it on a creature more and not just the swamp thing, and you'd be in the running, I'd say. Swamperia, the swamp Pokemon, are water and grass type. Swamperia are Pokemon who call the swamps home. It will use their phenomenal strength to help Pokemon who call this place home, and employ this impressive strength. Its body is made up of thousands of layers of densely packed swamp weeds and water to the point where Swamperia has a body that's mostly immune to catching a light. Many forest fires have been eased by a nearby Swamperia. Many Swamperia will congregate and compare musculature, striking poses and flexing muscles to nearby Pokemon who will help judge this swamp competition. Swamperia have the abilities Heatproof and Sheer Force. Mamoswine and Dragapult, anyone? Another 2 banger designs. Mamapult would have been funny as Slingshot Mammoth, but I was drawn in by Dragaswine. A pig dragon? Sounds good to me. Doing a little bit of research before this, I found out about these little objects called pig dragons. From China, these are little, circular pieces of jade that resemble almost fetal pigs, and I knew straight away what I wanted to do. I chose to make this almost colossal in design pig creature. You know the style of rock type Pokemon with those big, just random lads made of rocks with just weird body types. Yeah, this is the same. But I wanted to make it even weirder as Dragaswine has no arms, instead just these holes where I imagine it'd fire off attacks out of. Dragon Breaths and Rock Blast galore. It gives me big Dracovish energy with how bent and just weird they look. When I was colouring this Pokemon, it hit a green colour that made me think of the pigs from Angry Birds, and I just could no longer think of it that it was like jade. Although the shiny still reps that for our bad piggies. Dragaswine, the pig dragon Pokemon, a rock and dragon type. Originally found in ancient ruins, protecting both their pre-evolutions and the ruins they called home, Dragaswine now are found around the world. Their body is comprised of a rare material. If chipped off, more covetous types will pick it up and sell it off. Dragaswine are ornery Pokemon, so you must be careful around them. Various effigies based off Dragaswine and the pre-evolution have been found in the ruins they called home. Many of them small enough to be worn as a necklace, and were said to have given the wearer sturdiness and the ability to weather any situation. Dragaswine have the abilities Sturdy and Rockhead. So what did you think of this challenge? Comment your thoughts, and if you'd like to see more of these challenge vids, and tell me if you played along as well. Don't forget to chuck a like and sub to the channel, as well as hit that bell to never miss a video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.